Good evening. Welcome to the 12-Man Podcast Live on Facebook, on your streaming platforms, on Amazon, Spotify, Deezer, Apple, all the good places you can hear. Good podcast, I suppose. You got me, C. Jackson. I'm your host for the evening. We've got Mr. John Donovan's back with us from his travels. You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah.
Good trip away?
Yeah, it was. It was excellent. Yeah. Refreshed.
Get some work for the summer?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Happy days, that's what it's all about. Good stuff. And speaking of work for the summer, where it is actually summer and not cold, all the way halfway across the world, Rye's with us. Evening, Rye.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you beautiful people. It's so good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Good night. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
Thanks for coming on,
all right. No, thanks for having me as always, John. No, it's good to be here, lads. Shame it came after the back of a defeat like that, but look, always happy to join you. 6 a.m. here currently, and already a cheeky 28 degrees.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
And that was Rye for the evening. Good night, Rye. I don't even know what it is. It's about 5 degrees or something. So
yeah, it's not so good.
It was lovely and warm in Riverside last night, but yeah, we'll get into that. We're on the, you've got to get all your comments in, get your thoughts in, any questions you've got, any, controversial opinions you may have after last night. Could you play right back? Let us know. We'll talk about Sunderland last night. The derby that wasn't a derby, but they made it such a big deal. They held up a corner flag like it was Graham Souness at Fenerbahce, but that's how you celebrate a normal away win. Crack on. We'll talk about that. We'll go through all that, and I suppose I'm going to do this live on air, John. Are we going to leave the transfer stuff till next week because we've got no game next week?
It's entirely up to you. We'll see how long it takes to get through all the events of last night, and then it's entirely up to you, mate.
Yeah, there was plenty of events, wasn't there? So we'll get stuck into it. Get all your thoughts and get your comments in. We'll go through as many as we can, and we'll leave it there. So before we start, is everybody all right?
Yes, I'm in a far better mood than I was at. I was in far better mood than I was at 11 o'clock last night when I was absolutely down in the dumps.
Wow. Yeah. 10 o'clock.
Doing well. I've recovered slowly. I've had a full day of school kids dropped off, and just to ponder and think. I had a nice, lovely goodbye voice message from Latte Lath as well. Obviously I knew that it was happening as well, but he sent me a lovely voice note as he's now moved to Atlanta, which was quite sad. I mean, we all knew it was coming, but on the back of last night, I think that sort of adds to it, doesn't it? And that makes it a little bit sort of, bit of a sour 24 hours or so. But look, it's been a good day here with the family and kids back at school. Can't complain.
Well, that's it. So, it's always good to get rid of the kids, isn't it? So, well, go on then. You've said it now. What did Latte Lath say?
So he sent me a voice message. This was actually a few days ago that he said goodbye to me. He sent me a voice message, because we are constantly back and forth in DMs, just joking and laughing. He was someone that he followed me quite early on, and he used to love the stuff that I would get up to, and we'd often, send a bit of banter back and forth. And he sent me a lovely voice message a few days ago saying, "Yeah, look, it's happening. I'm going. Goodbye." But it was really hard to listen to because it was through sadness and he kept pausing. Obviously, his English isn't the best, but he kept pausing, and it was we've sent voice messages before, and he's usually upbeat and laughing and making jokes, and this one really wasn't it. And it just took me then that maybe this isn't as a happy move for him as everyone thinks, you know what I mean? And obviously there's a lot of money involved. Of course he's got to sign off at it in the end of the day as well, do you know what I mean? And he's got a family to feed and stuff like that. But I think, there are definitely on from his side of things, you know, some unreserved sort of things there that maybe, you know, they're just sadness of how it sort of come to an end. And we sort of saw it at the end of that Ipswich, you know, at the summer one with that Ipswich deal potentially, you know, rocking the boat a little bit. And then we sort of knew that January coming around, but, you know, the club, player, agent, you know, everyone involved, 23 million is too good to say no, you know what I mean? And from a business point of view, from a personal point of view, he's got a family that, you know, and moving to Atlanta and America and stuff like that as well, you know, is, you know, we saw Crooksy do it and all, you know, all these players saying they want to give it a chance to move to America and see what it's like for their livelihood and stuff like that. So, yeah, look, it was a nice voice message. It was sad. I sent him one back, and yeah, it was, as I said, it was a few days ago, a while ago now, that it was confirmed, obviously, to him that was going to happen. But it was just waiting for the MLS and the rigmaroles and the international clearances and stuff like that. But yeah, lovely message, just saying, you know, to me, thank you for me, and you know, to my family, mentioned my girls and stuff like that because we've come quite close. So yeah, no, he's a lovely character, and I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him a lot.
Yeah, he's
Go
on, John.
I was just going to say that's a lovely message, and to be honest, I don't think there'll be any resentment from Middlesbrough fans at all, you know, because he's given us everything whenever he's been on the pitch. You know, he's ran himself into the ground for the team, you know, and you expect that of a Teesside, but he's like you say, he's an African, and you know, he took to Teesside and the fans really well, and he never let us down. Yeah, it's a shame he's moved on, but the club have benefited financially from the deal, and also as fans, we've benefited for having to watch him, you know, for 18 months. So yeah, it's good all round. So good luck to him.
Yeah, it's a shame he couldn't played last night or been there last night. Obviously, I know he's over there and he's done his medical and he's done all his contract stuff and everything he needs to. I just felt him running at that back line would have been an absolute deal breaker for them. But never mind. You know, yeah, good luck to him. You know, he gave everything, didn't he? So I can't really resent him his move. And that money, like Ryan said, you can't turn down. You know, 22.5, 23 million. There's no way we could have done that. So, and Craig Higgins owes me 20 quid as well. So happy days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even though Atalanta get a cut of that the profit, it's still very, very good for our club.
And I know it's a record.
Yeah, and I know there'll be arguments from people, you know, why sell your best players or your best striker in the middle of a season? But sometimes it isn't always in the club's hands. So, like you say, Crooksy went to the club and said he's been given an opportunity to go to the States. So he asked the club if he could go. The club said yes. They were good to him. We don't know the circumstances whether or not Latte Lath has done a similar thing. And like Rai said, to get a massive boost in wages and make himself financially sound was an opportunity that he probably couldn't turn down.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's I can see why it happened, but sad it happened. But we move on. They say we brought players in. We have brought a replacement in. We'll have a chat with him about him a bit later. Let's talk Sunderland, John. Let's talk the derby they don't consider a derby, and the fact they can't use a compass because they keep saying you're not in the North East because you're in Yorkshire. Well, you couldn't be any more thick if you really wanted to. Team youth came in, 5 changes. We brought in Giles, Whittaker, Edmondson came back in as well. Travers made his debut in goal. And who was the other one that came in? Marcus Force, wasn't it? Yeah. So what did you make of the team when it came out?
I was okay with the team. I was a little bit surprised not to see Fry alongside Vandenberg. But I didn't even see the bench, so I thought Fry was out of it altogether. So I thought it must have been something to do with his fitness. And when I learned that he was on the bench, it surprised me even more, you know, as to why he didn't start. But other than that, you know, like you say, Whittaker starting, Force and Berzog as an attacking options. I thought that the team was fairly strong. Trafford's in goal, sad to say that the Glover's made a couple of handling errors and kicking errors recently, and I think the goalkeeper position was one that most fans agreed had to be strengthened. So when Travis joined us on loan, it was a good move for us. It did strengthen the team. So yeah, overall, I was quite happy with the starting lineup.
Yeah, same here. Right, one name that stuck out that wasn't there though, Rye. Obviously, rumours were flying about all day about Ben Doak. Looks like he is injured. Proved to be a big miss. What did you make of the team when you saw it come out?
Yeah, look, I hadn't heard on the grapevine about Ben Doak, and sadly, obviously, I didn't want it to be true, but obviously that was the confirmation sort of thing. Obviously that he has, hurt his upper thigh, and it looks like it's going to be, no, but it's like pulling teeth when you try and get Carrick to tell you how long with injuries and stuff like that. But, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be months, and potentially it is quite a serious leg injury for Ben Doak. So hence why the Morgan Whittaker and Ealing Jr. coming in as well, I think makes more sense to me because, I was sitting there going, well, what is with Whittaker and what was with Ealing Jr. being chased when we've got Ben Doak there. But you can kind of understand now that due to the severity of this injury, by the sounds of it, that he is out for a couple of months. The team looked good to me on paper. I love Travers coming in. Obviously, you hit the nail on the head there, John, with look, I'm an Aussie through and through, but Tom Glover, as he's a tall lad, which makes him not so technical with his feet, and we need a keeper that plays out from the back, that can move the ball. We saw the injury to Solbrin. We saw Senny Dieng putting in a hospital bed with his leg in a cast. So we needed a keeper coming in. Travers, I thought was is it a fantastic keeper? Although he probably thinks that his team hates him because they scored 2 goals against him. And with Edmondson signing, I was agreed. I think our best pairing there is Rav and Dale Fry. But it was interesting to see they must have thought Edmondson could do a job on Isidore, and look, to me on paper it looked good, and we went with who we had. There is no Dyke still, there is no now Matt Clark. Ryan Giles is the best left back at the club. From what he could choose from, that was arguably the best team he could put out there, in regards to injuries and transfer speculation as well. So I was excited when I saw it. I was excited to see Morgan Whittaker out there as well. £8 million signing, you know what I mean? For someone that we know how good he is at that championship level. So excited, but obviously 90 minutes ahead before we saw that.
Yeah, it was, we'll go through the 90 minutes. But I was quite happy with the team. I thought the team was about right for what we had. Didn't expect to see Ealing Jr. on the bench. Looks like he signed in time for the, obviously for the deadline, which is good. I couldn't complain with the team. We couldn't give much else apart from say maybe Dale Fry. I'd put Dale Fry back in. Let's say with Rav. I think their partnership works well. But he's obviously ran the changes after the defeat of Preston. But atmosphere before the match, John. Obviously, we did a lot of. Well, you did a lot of work in particular. Went down to Riverside Sunday. Red Faction did their bit, helped us out with our bit. Talk us through, what was done and what came out of it.
Yeah, well, we were always going to do something for this game, but the club had a meeting with ourselves and Red Faction and just sort of to discuss about lifting the atmosphere. I think the club realised, that recent home games, the atmosphere hasn't been the best. And there was a few honest conversations regarding the reasons why, and it centred around really about like performances at home. You can't sort of hide the issue. but obviously we chatted about it, and we decided we would sort of do things in both stands behind the goal, the north and the south. Red Faction were doing their own display, and they loaned us several hundred flags that we dispersed amongst the seating in the north stand, plus the ones we've got ourselves. And I thought, come kick off, and they were all put out Sunday morning. Some volunteers, Dally, who's on here regularly, he came down. He'd done all the organising really, and he brought his son Noah, who was fantastic. He worked hard. He obviously got double pocket money, or if he didn't, he should have done. So he helped us out, and it was all set. It was all set for the fans to wave the flags, to put the cards up in the south stand, and make a colourful display and raise the roof, to try and help our team lift the performance.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was when kickoff came. It did look good. It was, before the teams came out, it was clear the club had put a lot of work in behind the scenes themselves. They say they dim the lights, let the music go out, let us build the atmosphere ourselves. It looked good, and then they had a little surprise, didn't they? Just before kickoff, Kelechi Iheanacho popped out the tunnel and was unveiled as I suppose he'd be our new number 9. John, what do you make of that one coming through?
He's not prolific as a goal scorer, but for championship standard, I think he could do well for us. It remains to be seen. He's got experience. How old is he? 28, is he?
28.
Yeah, he's got experience. Let's hope he's got the hunger, the desire, and he helps us make up for the loss of Latte Lath. And then just after he went off the pitch, he was the one who set off the fireworks, wasn't it?
Someone did. Didn't expect them to go off, but then I thought someone down Doggy Market has obviously bought a big box of them and just thought, I'm going to let these off. But it looked really good. On the back of the south side, it looked really good. Yeah, it was clear the hard work we put in was paid off. It looked spectacular.
You probably didn't get a view of it, Rye, because I think it was just behind. It was behind the south stand, so it looked like it was over, like near the railway track where they were set off from. And I don't know whether the TV cameras picked up on it, but from the north stand, it was quite impressive. It was all right. It was good.
No, it looked good on the TVs, and obviously, we've spoken a lot about atmosphere on this podcast, on socials and everything like that, about lifting the atmosphere at the Riverside, and a lot was done. They got Red Faction behind it. They had their big display, the 12th man, obviously, you guys going in early. We saw the fireworks, and I'm sitting there on TV, as were most of the people, around the world that are Middlesbrough fans. A lot of people tuning in, obviously, from down here in Australia, and it wasn't at a poor time down in Australia or in America where there's current fans, and we were all so hyped for it. They created a buzz towards the game, and that's what they were after. And I think there wasn't much more you could ask for Borough fans on a Monday night after it being rescheduled as well, after a long day of work. You know what I mean? So they got what they asked for. They asked for a great atmosphere, a full stadium, and the fans did their part. And I don't think there can be any questions around that. So it's just obviously they're doing it to try and lift the performances. And unfortunately, I think a lot of them, like we are, who went after a long day at work, a long weekend, got left, leaving the Riverside Stadium again with such a sour taste. And unfortunately, there are people out there that we saw the viral picture of the young kid in tears, sitting at the ground, and how upset he was. You know what I mean? And it's hard for a dad, a mum, whoever it is, to then go, I want to take my son and daughter back to that. Do I want to put my son and daughter through that pain? And we get it as veterans of football, don't we? We're we've been through it with the roundabouts of Borough through over the years of the ups and downs, and it is what it is. But when we put so much pressure on the fans attending the game and creating a perfect atmosphere, and then you get a performance like that where it leaves kids in tears. You know what I mean? It's hard to ask those kids and those families and those people to come back time and time again, paying good money when you see performances like that. And unfortunately, that's what the boys were left with, and the boys and girls were left with after yesterday. And it was sad. It was just a feeling of great sadness after so many fans like yourself, John. So many fans had gone that extra mile for this game to build it up, to create the excitement, to put the buzz out there, and you could feel it. You could feel it straight away from the TV. From I just wanted to jump on a plane or climb through my screen and be there. And it was just sad how it would, how much work went into it to see the end result.
No, you're absolutely right. It was.
Yeah, I mean, it was good that I was just going to say, it's good that the club sort of approached the fans rather than the club forcing their ideas onto the fans. They came to the fans and asked, what do you want to do? What can we do? Tell us what we can do as a club, and tell us what you want to do. So that the dialogue was there, and it looked good at kickoff. Both ends of the ground looked well up for the game.
Yeah, the place was bouncing. It was absolutely bouncing before kickoff. It was the loudest I've heard the Riverside in a while. I've got to admit, it felt proper under the lights. What we do best. It's our trademark. We love creating a big atmosphere on a cold night in January. So obviously it's February, I know, but it's what we do. It's exactly what we do. And to be fair, John, we started really well. We did exactly what we said we should be doing. We got in their faces. We pushed them back on the front foot. And despite all the crying and whining and whinging from Patrick Roberts and the like, we stepped on the toes. We got the ball. And Delano Bergsorg, he was in a fine bit of form at the moment. He looks brilliant. He looks like the player we thought we were going to buy. Slotted away lovely. We had a right good angle behind it, and we were, north, south, every stand went absolutely crazy, didn't it?
Yeah. It was a great finish, great through ball from Hackney.
Ball from Hackney.
We nicked the ball off Patrick Roberts. He claimed a foul, but it was just a robust challenge, in my opinion. Hackney picked it up, advanced with it, for a great through ball. Bergsorg's run was timed to perfection, and he found himself clear of the centre half and was quite cool and calmly put it past the keeper. And like you say, the stadium erupted. It was great feeling. And at that time you think it's going to be our night. This, it's ours. And then we kicked off again.
Well, that was the thing, right? Wasn't it? I mean, we got that goal, but we had a chance before that. Forced a good save.
Yes.
Really silly saying forced. A good save from Matheson. But we did start really well, and when we got the lead after 10 minutes, we thoroughly deserved it.
Yeah, we did, mate. It was and we spoke pre-match how nervous we were, and there was obviously nerves, obviously on the pitch as well. But we settled into the game first and foremost. I mean, Sunderland were probably expecting a full-on attack, and they were going to sit back and sort of ride the wave a little bit. And that sort of how it played out in that first 20 minutes or so. Morgan Whittaker was getting involved with the Zaz, and we saw the Hackney had one of the games of his life. He was up for it after we saw bids from Porto for him. So it was emphatic. And we saw Marcus Force. He could have buried that header. We saw the great chance as well where he was put through and he tried to find the top corner and finesse it in, and he missed that one as well. On another day, that's 2 goals there. When a Marcus Force is inconsistent, you would expect him to be, he's one of the best finishers at the club. So yeah, look, the first 20 minutes or so, we saw, the Borough we were expecting, the Borough that everyone knew is in there, which was free-flowing attack. We saw it with the attacking players we've signed, that we're going to attack down. But, we saw Ryan Giles back to his very best whip. Oh my God, have we missed those left, footed crosses into the box? He was, immense up and down that wing. And then, as John said, it's just sad that the defensive errors come back in and haunt us. And, you know, there was a lot of talk on social media this January about addressing the real evidence, the thing that the Middlesbrough fans can see, and that's defensive. And unfortunately, we didn't really address that. We didn't sign a right back, you know, to cover it. Well, Dijksteel and Aylings with injuries. We saw Josh Deedy, the young right back who can come in, but he's obviously linked up with the under 21s. But, you know, I said at the time when we were signing him, put him in the first team. We saw Matt Clark leave, Baldini, you know, which was another real sad one for me. I thought Matt Clark was a fantastic defender on his day. And to go into the rest of the season with 3 centre backs after the defensive errors we saw last night, it's just, you know, yeah, it was upsetting. But yeah, as you said, first 20 minutes, mate, we were exciting. We were flary. We saw exactly what Middlesbrough were about, and Sunderland were on the back foot completely. You know what I mean? And if it not had been for Patterson with a fine save, and for unfortunately Marcus Forss missing that sitter, then we could have been 3-0 up.
Yeah, and we would have deserved it, like you say. That first 25-30 minutes, we would have deserved more than a 1-goal lead.
No, you're absolutely right. It's as I said, I just looked at the first 20 minutes, half an hour, and I thought we should be 3 up here. There's no ifs or buts, but I felt like we were exactly the same at Preston. We should have been 2-3 up there, and then I'll come to you, Ryan. I'll let you talk, because obviously you saw many angles before we did. Obviously, we just saw one. Unlucky deflection from George Edmondson. The way Daniel celebrated, I thought he scored a screamer. I'll give you the big in the North Stand. I mean, yeah, I'll give me opinions about that to myself. But that wasn't the mistake for me. I thought it was bang unlucky. You could see the hurt on his face. It was like, oh, you know, I've messed up a bit there. It's the bits beforehand. We had chances to clear the ball, and we just simply didn't, and it cost us again.
Yeah, look, Enzo Lafie had a night to remember, didn't he? You know, Luke Ayling just let him play his natural game, and he was just lethal down that left wing, and that's where it came from. You know, the attack came in from that left-hand side. You know, went into the box. It was blocked clearly by Middlesbrough. You know, defensively, I thought we did well. It was then a 2-on-1, and Dan Neil somehow came out with it. You know, and won it and got a shot away, which was from TV angles and stuff going directly at Travers, but Edmondson tried, did his job. He was there and tried to, obviously pat it down, take some of the sting off it, and obviously the deflection off his chest straight past Travers, who was in position, I thought, to take, it was going to hit him straight in, straight head eyes, because it wasn't swerving or anything like that. There was no sort of curve to it. It was just, a bullet, and it unfortunately hit Edmondson, and often it went in, and it was just such a cruel blow. And that took the sting out of it. That took the excitement out of it. That took everything, because it was an own goal. It was against the run. We saw this Enzo Lafie beating Luke Ayling, you know what I mean? And then it was just, I think for us, not only as fans, but for players as well, was that, oh God, here we go again mentality. And we should have had someone on that pitch then as a leader to say, come on, boys, let's, that's a mistake. We don't need that. You know what I mean? Let's lift our heads and we go again, sort of thing. And we didn't really ever get going again. Not what we'd seen in that first 20 minutes, as we just described, with the chances to force and stuff like that. We kind of fell back into our shell, and we let Sunderland then create possession. I mean, Sunderland spent the most time in the half of the pitch. I mean, for a point there, I think Luke O'Nien and Chris Meppham could have put up a market stall at the halfway line. They were there for that amount of minutes. So, and then they just passed it left and right, and that's, they were just probing our defense, and they were able to, sit back and prevent in possession. Normally we have that Ben Doak counter-attack run potentially that gets out of them. We saw Bergsorg and stuff like that, but we just couldn't break away. And it was just, we were then on the back foot from that moment. And unfortunately it was Edmondson on his debut as a full-timer that came off the chest. And for me, it was the moment then that we needed someone to grab them by the scruff of the neck and say, get up, look at this crowd, look at this atmosphere, look what this game means to these people. We need to get back from that. That's an unlucky goal. It happens in football. We get that. And that's when we needed to show real, true character and show, why we as a football club can get back from moments like that.
Right. You've absolutely nailed it there with everything you said. First and foremost, Dan Neil shouldn't have got to the ball. You know, there was two Borough players, they were both hesitant because they were close to each other. I don't know whether it was a lack of communication. Dan Neil comes free with the ball and shoots towards goal. When you see the replays and the angles from behind the goal, it's going straight down Travis's throat. You know, it's an easy save. But then luck intervenes, and you know what? Luck plays a part in life, and it plays a part in football. And when things are going for you, and when you're confident, you get that little bit of extra luck. And you don't seem to get that when your confidence is low, and that's how Borough are at the moment. You know, Sunderland have only lost 2 games out of the last 12. They haven't won a great deal of that, but they've only lost 2 in 12. Their confidence is quite good. They know that there is a resilient team. Ours is poor. Our confidence is low. And the confidence of the Borough crowd is low because we've seen it so many times. And you're dead right in what you said there, Ryan. That absolutely knocked the spark out of the team, out of the crowd. And it just allowed Sunderland back into it. That little tiny piece of luck just let Sunderland right back into the game. I was quite confident that we would have gone on to half-time still in the lead if it wasn't for that outrageous piece of luck on their behalf. But that's how it is. That's it. And we've said this before on the podcast. If you have a shot from distance, you don't know what's going to happen. No. You know, these things, we've scored goals ourselves from deflections, so we can't knock it. But it's just how you are at the moment. When you're low on confidence and your luck's out, things go against you.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. It was just a key moment of the game. 10 minutes before the half, you just felt the atmosphere go. I'm not saying it went completely because he did pick up. You know, we got ourselves back in the second half, but you just felt the momentum was knocked straight away from us. You know, we could have even cleared that ball away before Daniel got the shot, and then we'd have been regrouped and gone at him again. But it was just massively disappointing, and the timing really killed me. And players went at half time and came back out. Well, you say came back out. I don't know when they came back out because it gave Sunderland such a boost for the second half. And John, that second goal, we can't blame anybody else but ourselves. Ayling, I mean, the pass went from Ayling to Morris. I don't know what Morris was doing. Edmondson trying to play an offside trap that wasn't there. Isidore obviously sat Travers down. They went 2-1 up. And like Rice said, John, we're looking at the defence again. It's defensive errors, it's individual mistakes, all coming together as a collective and just making it look worse each and every time. And we just don't seem to be learning, do we?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Ayling's finest hour, was it? And the ball come to him, and he either, I don't know whether it was his thigh or his shin, but he just sort of allowed it to bounce off him towards Morris, who miscontrolled, and then Latte picked it up, played a great ball, and Isidore, he wasn't offside. I've freeze-framed it plenty of times.
No, he wasn't.
And he wasn't offside. And yeah, we tried to play the offside. We got it badly wrong. We messed up with the ball in our possession between 2 players. So it's just 2 errors on the bounce, and Isidore done well to finish. But Lebris said in his post-match press conference that he just asked his team to give more passion. He wanted to see more passion from them, and that's all we've asked for from our players, haven't we? You know, we don't seem to, like Rai said earlier, have that leader when we suffer blows in games, when we suffer something going wrong, something going against us. We don't have the strength, the characters to handle that, and we just sort of like freeze and we crumble in a way, and it's something that we must put right. Obviously, it's a confidence thing. Obviously, it's mental attitude, but you know, these players are making basic errors, and we're getting punished for them. I just hope and pray, you know, that that eventually we will get it right, because there's a great team in there. There's a good team in there, but we have beaten ourselves time and time again. But saying that, we went behind. Sunderland had the ball for a little while, didn't really hurt us, and then we got back into it. And after we got back into it, that's the time that we should have went and pressed to win the game. But we all know what happened after that. But I'll let you describe the second goal, right? I mean, what was your reaction when the TV camera showed you that?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, and Jason in the comments here is nail on the head. It was a carbon copy of our first goal. We saw, two players come together. Morris looked like he'd been fouled. He was claiming foul. He was screaming at the referee. But in that instance, Laffy had already skipped away with the ball, tried to put a fantastic through ball through. Edmondson, in your classic defending, is stick with your man. You know what I mean? It's just stick with your man, and he chose not to. He chose to take that step in front to try and create an offside trap, but it just wasn't, and that kept him on side. He was too slow for that, and he was in the right position to create that offside trap, and he instead of stepping forward, he let him Isidore, who's a quick player, skip past him, and then of course it was just one-on-one, and Travers would have just unfortunately sitting there going, what have I signed up for? And it was a calamity of the ailing Morris again, which we saw at Preston, wasn't it? I mean, it was the Morris back pass to Ailing. This time it was Ailing back to Morris, and it's just none of that fluidity and that confidence in each other. You know what I mean? And that's just, unfortunately it was just a sad state of affairs. And then when we're looking at, after such an amazing first 20 minutes or so with the Bergs, or we're looking down the barrel of a 2-1 at the Riverside, against the local derby. So that one hurt. And I thought at that stage, Edmondson had already scored an own goal. He then tried to create the offside trap. That's when I thought, right, well, if, Edmondson's confidence is clearly not there. There's something, maybe he's made two crucial mistakes that have led to goals. It's maybe just not his night. That's when I think maybe we look at Dale Fry, maybe halftime substitution. You know what I mean? Maybe we look at, we've got Dale Fry. We know how good Dale Fry and Rav Vandenberg have been together. Maybe we just drag Edmondson. He's signed a new contract. We get Dale Fry out there, and obviously Carrick didn't do that, and we went with the status quo, and we all know how it ended up. But at that stage for me, that's when, again, I was crying out for a leader to say, we still got this. And, credit to the boys. Like you said, John, we were going to find a way back through it. It was going to be through Hayden Hackney, who had one absolute game of his life. And maybe he needed the captain's armband. There's been a lot of criticism about Hayden being a captain and not wearing it, and maybe he's not up for it. Well, yesterday he put on one of the game. He was one of the best players out there. He was against Job, who's been rumored to go to Real Madrid and Borussia, just like his brother. Well, Hayden Hackney put on a clinic against him. Do you know what I mean? And maybe he should have been the bloke with the captain's armband, because he was showing the spirit, the tenacity, the fight that we were looking for from all the other players, and he managed to get us back into it with an absolute sensational strike. Nothing that he didn't deserve after the through ball he put through to Bergsorg. So, yeah, look, it was again an Edmondson error. I hate to single him out, but it's hard when you're the only person out there, and we only had three at the back because Luke Ayling had pushed up so far at the pitch, and Rav Vandenberg was left to see, and Edmondson decided to step forward and try and create an offside moment that just wasn't there. And yeah, unfortunately, we know the rest. Isidore puts it past him coolly.
Yeah,
Rav, can I ask you? I'll ask you and Steve this question. Are we making too many changes across our back line, and is that impacting on the communication levels and We used to years ago, Rye. I don't know. Well, it was before you started following the Borough, but we had a parent at centre half, and they were called the telepathic twins because they knew exactly where they were going to be. And then you've got you growing up. You've got your Mowbray and your Pallister together, and then during Karanka, you've got Ayala, Gibson.
Yep.
We've always had regular centre half pairings, but the number of changes that we've made this season, okay, some have been down to injury. I fully understand that, but it seems very difficult that any level of communication can be formed so that they're comfortable with each other. It just seems that they're very, very nervous.
We're crying out for consistency, John. We're crying out for consistency in performance. And it's hard to be consistent when you don't have a consistent team sheet there. And I get it with injuries. I get that, unfortunately, Dyke still can't be selected, so you got to play Luke Ayling. But last night, there was no reason for me to change Edmondson in from Dale Fry. And we see Dale Fry, we see Rav Vandenberg slowly starting to learn each other. Yes, they've got a new goalkeeper behind them. But, yes, we've got Ryan Giles, who was but that should have been, a back four that's all right. Now we're set. Michael Carrick's spoken about in length how, they said, listen, you've just sold Matt Clark. He said, no, I'm happy with 3 centre backs. You know what I mean? I'm happy with the situations. You know what I mean? And he would have been given ample opportunity to say, hey, look, I think we might need a right back because Dykestill's not, coming back, and we've got Ayling. And he said no. And he went after the likes of Morgan Whitaker and stuff like that, So you're absolutely right. We come from an era of ITEL. That's the thing. We're coming from the last success we had in recent memory was ATEL Karanka, which was such a defensive borough. And we know how defensive borough can be. And for years, we were just the 1-0ers, the 2-0s, and we were, everyone's crying how boring it was. But my God, how we're crying out for that now, for that Ayala Gibson sort of partnership. And they were just rock solid, weren't they? They never missed a beat. And now, with constantly swapping and that, when the fans, the team, the competition is crying for consistency, there's no consistency in the centre back pairings due to injury, due to team selection, due to whatever it may be. So he thought Edmondson could have done a job last night. He thought Edmondson was the right man to be in that starting 11, and unfortunately for us, we all feel that it was wrong and it should have been Dale Fry.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also affecting Vandenberg's game because he last year he was Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year. Everybody on social media was touting him as a Premier League player at another club, one of the top 4 clubs, and yet his performances this year have not reached that standard. But do you think, Steve? Do you think he's affected by all the chopping and changing in the back line?
Yeah, I do. There's no. Like Rye used the word perfectly. It's consistency. I think we've used the same back line twice this year. We've played 30 games in the league now. We're not trying to find our best solution. We're not trying to find our answer. I don't know what we're trying to find now. And it seems like we've gone from, keeping it tight at the back, maybe winning 1 or 2-0 to, well, if we do concede 2 or 3, we'll just go out and score 4, which is exciting. Yeah, of course it is. It's brilliant to watch if you're neutral, but being a fan watching it and being on the wrong end of it is absolutely horrific. And it hurts. It hurts a lot because you feel if you just kept it a little bit tighter, you'd been absolutely fine. But
yeah, well, Sunderland made one change for the game, but that was to bring a player back in from injury. Rig returned, and that was a positive for them, if you know what I mean. So I just think that all the changes, especially across the back 4, can't be helping them. Any form of partnerships being developed or understanding. I just think it's something that is letting us down. And like Rye says, we've let Matt Clark go. So now we're down to 3 first team centre halves and Harley Hunt as a backup. Now, I was contemplating maybe for the future games that we could play a 5 at the back, 3 centre halves and a wing and 2 wing backs to offer us a little bit more solidity. But I don't think he's going to do that if he's only got 3 centre halves on the books. So really, letting Matt Clark go was probably not the best decision.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of comments are coming through questioning who's coaching the defence, and they're all pointing at Woodgate. They're all pointing at him, and without being the negative Nelly and say why are you singling out one coach when it's a whole lot of them that that do coach the team. He is the one. I mean, I did sit and watch the warm-ups last night. He is the one that stands with the defence. He stands with the back 4, doing what shaping them out, making sure that they come forward as one, go back as one. Come out in singles instead of in clubs. He does all that with them. He does that work with them, and the mistakes we're making, they're head scratching, and you just stand there and you think, I don't get where it's coming from, and I struggle with it, and I struggle to defend him, to be honest. I mean, I love Jonathan Woodgate. Jonathan Woodgate's one of my heroes. I love watching Woody as a footballer.
Yeah,
he's left a bit of a bad taste in the mouth as a coach for a lot of fans. He's a bit like when Mowbray came towards the end of his tenure. A lot of fans said he was tainting his legacy a little bit because he was hanging on a bit too long. I'm not saying he's in any category to close to Mowbray, of course not, but I feel like he's putting a bad taste in the mouths of Borough fans. Woodgate at the moment, it's not helping. But let's move on from the negativity. Let's talk about the equaliser, because we stepped on their toes, a bit like the first half. Because I felt like that's where the 2 goals came from. We stepped back and just let them do it, whereas we took the initiative and stepped forward, forced a mistake out of jump. The finish was hacked. It was brilliant. Brilliant. You can see why clubs are in for him. Yes, he has his games where he's lazy. And there was times last night where he was going in for tackles and you thought, why are you doing that? Step away and just take your time with it. But he ran midfield last night. We're usually looking at Morris giving him the guidance, and he guided a lot. I thought he was brilliant. I thought, he showed us why he is worth looking at by other teams and why Porto put the 2 bids in. And the finish was brilliant. As soon as he hit it, he knew it was in. And the place went up in uproar. It was, everybody loved it. And I felt, John, it created the atmosphere again in the stadium. I felt the fans were lifted again. I felt we all believed, we could go on and win this now.
Well, we did, because like I said earlier that because of our home performances and because of what we've witnessed this season especially, there isn't a lot of confidence amongst the fans that once we go behind, we can get back into games. So when we did, it gave everybody a lift, and the noise levels rose dramatically again, and we thought, come on, let's do this. You always want to beat your nearest rivals. We don't like each other. We work with each other. We socialise with each other, but we don't like each other. In football in terms. So you'd always want to beat them, but that give us a lift. It was a little bit out of the blue, wasn't it? I don't think anybody expected us to, because we hadn't had a sustained spell of pressure. So I don't think anybody was expecting that. But it was fantastic when it happened 2-2, and we thought, let's go on and do this now.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Right.
Honestly, it was incredible. I mean, we saw Sunderland moving it sloppily out of their defense. Aidan Morris coming in and capitalizing on a poor mistake by them, slots it to Hayden, and the finish is unreal. What stood out for me was, I was limbs, I was waking neighbors, I was naked down the street, it was 2-2, but I was, I thought it was thing. But if you have a look at the celebrations, not many boys ran over to Hayden. He slid over into the corner, and a lot of the boys just sort of slowly jogged up. And again, that was when I needed, the boys then to lift with the atmosphere, because the atmosphere then went up again. The fans were up. Everyone was up. You look at listen to the noise when Hayden hits the back of the net there. But look at the players that just jogged slowly over to Hayden. And that's when I think we needed, to really galvanize, the steel of Middlesbrough to then, go up and lift the team. So it was a fantastic effort. Hayden had, as I said, one of the best games I've seen in a Borough shirt in a long time. We turned down 2 bids from Porto. Obviously, he's crucial. We talk about consistency. Well, we're not consistency with the captain's armband. Is it Hayden Hackney? Is it Luke Ayling? Johnny Howson's not around. It's been Dale Fry at some points as well. So, I mean, if we are seeing Hayden Hackney as a future captain, then leave the armband on him and let him go. Do you know what I mean? Stop giving it to Luke Ayling. Stop giving it to, taking it off him, because how's that meant to feel as well? So we need to be consistency there with that armband. But what a fantastic effort. And as I said, a fantastic shot and a fantastic capitalised there by Aidan Morris. Aidan Morris read that so well and put Sunderland under pressure. And that's what we needed to be doing. When Sunderland were passing it around at the back through Chris Meffam and Luke O'Nien, Luke O'Nien was subjected to many a mistake. Man was walking, was a walking red card as well. We should have had a free kick on Whittaker as well. And we should have been pressuring him every time he had the ball. The first time we did that, we created a chance and Hayden Hackney scored off it. And we should have seen that as an eye-opener. And again, leader on the pitch saying, pressure Luke O'Nien when he's on the ball because he's open to making a mistake. And we kind of, we got the goal. We kind of just sat back a bit and we kind of relaxed a bit and we kind of sat, said that'll do, and that's not what I wanted to see from that. But all credit to Hayden Hackney, as I keep saying, it was a fantastic performance. And for me, we need to, if he give him the captain's armband for the rest of the season, just give it to him. He's our future. He is our midfield. He's one of our own. If he knows anything about what it's like to beat Sunderland and the performance he put down last night, give him the captain's armband, because I thought it was absolutely stellar.
I can't disagree with that. I can't. If you're gonna pick someone as captain, stick with it. Fully get it. Johnny Howson's club captain, and we are craving a leader in the middle. We really are. The leadership question gets whacked about way too much, and we don't seem to have an answer for it. But yeah, if you're going to give him the captain's armband, let him develop his leadership skills. Maybe that's what he's lacking. Maybe he just needs the opportunity to develop that and, get the respect from the group that he is the captain. So, but I stood there 85 minutes and I thought, you know what, 2-2 is about right here. I thought it was about right, even game. Both sides missed chances. But John, that big, massive punch came. One bit of, let's not beat about the bush, one bit of magic from Enzo Lafay finished Ayling. Like, he was never catching him. And then the biggest slice of luck to go with it, where Ryan Giles turned into pure prime Messi and banged it straight in the back of the net. It was just the wrong net, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Lafay was trouble for us all game. To be honest, he was. He had Ayling in knots. Let's be honest, and obviously Ayling's not the quickest. And Lafay was able to get round him quickly, knock it through his legs on a couple of occasions, and knock it round him, and then run and collect the ball. Ayling didn't have a good night. And also considering the fact that he was partly responsible for the second goal that Sunderland scored. Yeah, a night he'll forget. He'll want to forget, rather. That again, I'm going to talk about luck with that. It was just unfortunate because George Edmondson wasn't far away from getting a toe on that ball to knock it away, but he didn't. He didn't get to it, and it come through a group of players, and Ryan Giles couldn't get himself out of the way, and he knocked it towards goal, and it was wide of Travis, and he couldn't stop it. It was a cruel blow. Yeah, I would have took 2-2. Like you said, Jacko, I would have took 2-2 all day long. It would have got us back in the top 6. It wouldn't have been the best result. We were looking to win that game, but after being behind at 2-1, 2-2, I'd snatch your hands off for that. But to lose it in the way we did was just very, very, very cruel. And I felt for Ryan Giles. In fact, I saw him as I was leaving the ground, and I just said to him, keep your head up. Because he looked down, he looked devastated because he hasn't had the best of times, has he, recently, with regarding his spell at Hull and his spell at Luton. Last thing he wants is another sort of is another club that he goes to where it doesn't work for him. He'll start to doubt himself, but there's nothing he could do there. It was just unfortunate, but like I say, a right kick in the bollocks.
It was a massive kick. It hurt massively. I imagine it hurt you as well, Ryan, watching that ball hit the back of the net.
Yeah, mate, I was devastated. I was kind of just, really, at the same point, I was like, righto, 2-2, we take that, we move on, we move forward. Sunderland are in a position, from no, disregard to their skill set. Everyone's waiting for the Sunderland capulation. Well, it wasn't coming, and they're there because they're a good team. And let's not forget, Enzo Lafie is a £23 million signing. You know what I mean? He's gone to Sunderland on loan, and they've committed to 24 million pounds if they do go up to sign him permanently. This is a very, very good footballer, and he made, he did exactly what he's been paid to do. He made, Luke Ayling look, silly, and Luke Ayling's had a couple of poor performances now with the Preston, obviously, debacle, and now this one, he's had a night to forget. And then Enzo Lafie comes in, puts a wicked cross in, and then poor Ryan Giles is just standing there, and Travers is thinking again, Jesus, I thought we were going to be defending against Sunderland, not alone my boys that are in front of me. So, and Travers is sitting there, after having such a good clean sheet record in the championship, looking at 3 goals put past him on day one. So I feel for Ryan Giles, because I thought he was one of our best, defenders, if not, and attacking threats throughout the night. He was lethal down that left. We saw the barnstorming runs, you know what I mean? We saw the crosses coming in from the left as well. And it was just one of those cruel moments again that football throw up. And, it should have never have even come in. It should have never come down that left-handed side like it did so easily throughout the night. And it was the Enzo Lafie moment from the start that saw, the Dan Neil one. You know what I mean? It was Enzo Lafie that put through Willian Isidore, and it was Enzo Lafie again in the end that, put in for Ryan Giles. So it was one player on one side that really ultimately undid Borough. And, unfortunately, we weren't able to fix it. We weren't able to retaliate. We saw Aidan Morris, and for those that, paid attention as well, you would have seen at some points when we were attacking, Aidan Morris really sat back. He became that Adam Clayton role, if you want. He was sort of that third centre back, and we saw him sort of, right in front of Travers there, getting the ball, passing it out from the back and that. And, we've really got to figure out now, moving forward, like John Don said, how are we going to rectify the defensive issues? Because we cannot keep shipping that amount of own goals, that amount of calamity defensive errors, and expect to still be in and around the playoffs with the teams that have gone on. Look at Mogger and and West Brom. They've gone and signed Adam Armstrong. You know what I mean? Sunderland have beaten us twice this season now, so they're going to stay above us. We've got Sheffield United, who are top. Their defensive record is immaculate. They've also done some big signings. So, we've got very, very cool customers up front, and I'm really excited by that. But I really do think we need to look at the formation. Maybe Ealing Jr., who can play wing back. Maybe we can look at, I don't know, a back three with Aidan Morris instead, because we've only got the 3 centre backs. But something needs to be fixed around that defensive area so that we can see the best of Rav Vandenberg. I mean, you guys came up with one of the most incredible songs for Rav Vandenberg when he was in form. Do you remember? It was on social media just today about the Rav Vandenberg song. When he's in his prime, he's one of the best centre backs we've got, and we haven't seen anywhere near that. Do you know what I mean? George Edmondson, do you know what I mean? I thought he was going to be a big, tough leader. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen that. And then Dale Fry was left on the bench, the poor bloke, the lighthouse, after a couple of stellar performances. So for me, it's all just about, we know we can attack. We know we can score goals. We know we've got the flair, even without Ben Doak. Morgan Whittaker coming in, great signing. Ian Archo hasn't got a prolific record, but I think he can do a big job. He's a big, tall, big, bodied striker that we've probably been crying out for. Do you know what I mean? Someone that can muscle in and get on the end of a Ryan Giles cross. So It's just for me defensively, we really, really need to have a look in the mirror. And unfortunately, Ryan Giles will be wearing it. Luke Ayling will be feeling it. George Edmondson will be feeling it. Travers will be feeling it. And now their confidence after day one with these three new boys in there is all shot. And we're going to need a big, big lift coming up against Sheffield United.
Yeah, we're all feeling it as fans. We are. But you know what? You're talking about Sheffield United. You know, we've got 8 days to prepare.
Yep.
I'd take a draw now. I'd take, if we could get 0-0 there, I'd be over the moon. If we could, you know, shut up shop and cut out the defensive errors, and if we got 0-0 there, I'd be happy with that, because they'll be absolutely red hot favourites for that game. So I just hope we can get something out of it. But yeah, there was positives last night. I thought Elling Jr. when he come on looked lively. Yeah, I thought Giles looked how he did when he first came here. Yep. He was getting forward plenty of times, put some lovely crosses into the box. The fact that Tommy Conway's back from injury, another positive. You see, I'm trying to lift everybody here. I'm trying to look for positives after an awful result. It wasn't an awful performance. There was some bad individual performances and some terrible errors, but it wasn't an awful performance. Sunderland are in a very, very good run of form, and they just edged that game 3-2. You know, they didn't walk all over us. We created our own downfall yet again. So I'm just trying to throw a few positives out there, because I think we can still make the top 6 come the end of the season.
Yeah, it's not out of the realms of possibility. Of course, it's not. I think it just, excuse me, we felt it a bit more last night because of who it was. I feel like
absolutely.
If it was a different team, we got beat 3-2 by, you think, yeah, I'm a bit miffed by it, but we move on. It's just the fact it was Sunderland. You know, they took 6 points off us this season. Did they deserve 6 points off us? No. But they've got
first time in any of our lifetime, by the way. So it's not a regular thing. So they can draw all they want. It's the first time they've done it. I've never seen it, you know, because I'm younger than 63.
I mean, there's been 2 moments under Michael Carrick that that hurt, and I think we need to use that as the momentum shifter or something like that. The first one for me was Burnley getting promoted on our backyard, seeing them go up at Riverside Stadium and seeing Connor Roberts celebrate like them. That hurt, and I think last night seeing Willian Isidore take our corner flag and use it as a trophy in our backyard again should hurt. And I think those 2 moments for me, if I'm Michael Carrick, I would be literally putting a picture of that up in the dressing room and that should hurt, because it hurts us as Middlesbrough fans. It hurts the club. Do you know what I mean? It hurts the atmosphere that was created, the effort that it all went into with the fireworks and the flags, and it hurt seeing Willian Isidore holding our corner flag up with his shirt on it, wrapped around it. So that's the type of hurt that for me, you know, should drive the passion, the leadership, the everything that we're craving for the rest of the season. And it's not all down in the dumps. It just hurts. Do you know what I mean? It's just a performance against the Mackems that hurt. But, you know, there's still plenty of football to play. We're still right up there in the playoff position. Do you know what I mean? We're still right there. And Michael Carrick will be sitting there going, what are you guys worried about? We're still right within playoff touch. You know what I mean? There's teams around us that are throwing points away. So we just need to fix our defensive frailties, our defensive errors. You know, if you can, those individual moments of letting down and find that leadership within our team, and find that consistency in our team selection, and we'll be right there. I still think, like John said, there's a fantastic team in there, and you don't sell a project to the likes of Ian Archo, to the likes of Ealing Jr., to the likes of Morgan Whittaker, who had the chance to go to Burnley without some sort of nous behind you. So I think we've got a lot still to play for. It's not season over. It's not mid-table finish. It's not, it's sad. It just hurts because it's Sunderland. And, and what hurts for me, I think, is because before a ball was even kicked at the start of this season, Sunderland are exactly where we expected we would be. That's exactly what we expected to be like this season, exactly where they are. And they were meant to be down the bottom once again because they keep giving bars out to Newcastle fans and can't choose a manager to save their life. And they were meant to be down the bottom, or we were meant to be up the top. And it just doesn't have. Football's got a funny way of working out. But that's what hurts the most, is that they're our local team, our local rivals. You know, the team that we hate passionately with the fans and stuff like that. And they are where we want to be as a football club. And for all intensive purposes, off the pitch, on the pitch, we are a better team, and we're not showing that.
Yeah, I think this weekend, the way the results have gone, I know, you know, we're only a point off fifth still. I think you can now say that top four are gone. They are gone. Though they won't be caught now. You know, there's always the hope if you beat one of them and bring them back, you know, maybe they'll pull back into, you know, the clauses of chasing pack. But them four are gone, so it'd be two out. It'd be two out of the four, and the other two will be in the playoffs with two out of, there's about eight teams within touching distance now of them playoff spots. But yeah, it just hurt.
Don't worry. Listen. Yeah, don't worry, Steve. We've got Coventry last away match of the season. You know what a good record we've got against them.
Can't be dealing with them putting us out the playoffs. I can't.
Yeah. It's not like they've turned into an amazing team under Frank Lampard as well, or anything like that either. So, yeah, look, there's still so much to play for, and we can't write it off. We've got the team now. You know, it's sorted. The Latte Lath thing's sorted finally. You know, we've got our strikers in. We've got, you know, the attacks in. We've got an answer to Ben Doak's injury. Do you know what I mean? We've got a very solid attacking, good championship team. You know, it's individual mistakes that are costing us. We fix that. You know, Michael Carrick's got a fortnight to bed in these new players, and we need to take it on by the scruff of the horn, because we've got so much opportunity here to make this season special. Still, it's that type of competition this year that other teams are just not. There's no one running away with it. You know, I mean, we can lose games like last night and still be within the top six. You know, touching playoffs. So we've got it can be special, and who knows when you get to playoffs what can happen. You know what I mean? But we just need. Maybe it was good that it happened last night rather than in the playoffs, because now we know what Sunderland are like, what we need to be like to take on the likes of Sheffield United, you know, the likes of Leeds United, you know, all these teams that we've still got to play, and show them what the borough's about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? There'll be a lot of fans who've reached their trigger point
100%.
with the manager.
Yeah.
I've
seen it all day.
And every fan has the right to their own opinion. But while we're still there and thereabouts, I'm backing the manager, and I'm hoping that, you know, we can try and get a settled back line if we can, and get some understanding, and just cut out the mistakes, because that's what's. I mean, it's so obvious. Everybody knows it. That's what's cost us so many points this season. It is our own downfall. And people will turn on and say, well, he's had all season to fix it, and he hasn't yet. And I do agree. I totally agree with that. But you can form your own opinion of whether you want a change of manager, and I'll form mine. And at the moment, mine is no. Stick with things and just keep behind the team and hope and pray that things eventually turn.
There you go. There's your rally cry. You know, there's 16 games to go. I think it's just the worrying stats that have come out. Obviously, now, you know, with 30 games in, we conceded 39 goals. We've dropped 19 points from winning positions. You know, we've had some howlers this year, more than I've ever known following the borough. You know, more than any of the miles we've ever covered on the road together, John. But yeah, we're still in there. You are right. We are still in there. So there's your point.
Well, just like the Karangi years, Stevie, maybe they should all go around Grant's house for a bit of a head-to-head. bit of a chat, bit of a party, get it sorted.
You know what I'd like to see maybe from the club now is we talk about atmosphere, we talk about, you know, they talk about home things. Where's Leo? You know what I mean? Where's Leo gone? I mean, we're keeping one of the most passionate people that we've known in recent Borough years behind hidden doors. Ever since he came in, he found Hayden Hackney and he took over when we were lost Wilder and that sort of stuff. Maybe Leo for the rest of the season can be on the sidelines again or something like that. Do you know what I mean? There is a man that can get the crowd going. They've got him there. His name's Leo, and maybe he doesn't want to be that person anymore. I'm not sure what the story is, but for me, there is a man there that can lift an atmosphere at the Riverside Stadium and can lift people around him. He's a walking mountain of energy, and it's Leo Perkovic. And I maybe that's something we need to see. The fans are crying now for Michael Carrick's head that he needs a stronger number 2. He needs something. Do you know what I mean? Bring Leo Perkovic out and sit him on the bench. And maybe he doesn't have to be a backup manager or anything like that, but his energy, his enthusiasm, his willingness to grab that badge and run up to the fans is something we need right now, because we're all hurting after that defeat, but we need something. And everyone's now calling for Michael Carrick's head. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it needs to happen, because I don't know who's out there that can take this team further this year than what Michael Carrick has, especially with the players that have come in January, probably because of Michael Carrick. And for me, there's a cheap answer here, and it's bring Leo out. Get Leo out on the bench. Bring Leo out in some sort of regard, Middlesbrough, and get the fans up and about, grabbing this, kissing that badge, and maybe that's a quick, timely fix of what we mean and what this means. Do you know what I mean? When we're playing at that beautiful Riverside Stadium.
There you go. You've heard from Rye. Bring Leo out as a cheerleader. Get him out, and I'll get on the blow with him. I'll see what he says. See what he's doing these days. I think he's enjoying his new job at the club, to be quite honest. But yeah.
Well, if we can't get Leo back, get Rye over.
Mate, I'll don't you worry about that. They want atmosphere. I'll run nude corner to corner, whatever that needs to take to get the boys up and about. Do you know what I mean? So, I'm screaming as loud as I can from down to here. And look, last night
we want to fill the stadium.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry, it's all right. I don't want to scare people away. I'll keep my clothes on, I promise. Yeah, look, yeah, exactly. We need the fans to stick by. I don't think that's going to change. It's going to hurt, and unfortunately, we got such a long blimmin' break between now and the next game. Maybe that hurt we're feeling last night, that the Borough players can feel it, the team can feel it, and we can use that as momentum of we're never going to let that happen, especially in our own backyard. And let's have a right hot push to this end of this season, because there's still so much to play for, and it could still be a special season.
Yeah, we've got a third season left. Well, there's still plenty to play for in this. So there's your positive. We try to find some. We found some. There you go. We'll go through the remaining games next week. That'll be part of what we do next week. There's no game to preview or anything. But last thing from you boys I need before I wrap it all up and let Rye start his day. We'll finish our day. John, I'll start with you. Your man of the match from last night?
Hayden Hackney. Yeah, man of the match. Bergzog done well, but Hayden Hackney for me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Riley McGree. I know he wasn't out there, but I know that he was sitting. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Hayden Hackney as well. For me, Hayden Hackney. I mean, he had a performance in that shirt that we know, but one of our own. It reminded me of that Chelsea game. Do you know what I mean? Where he just showed what he's capable of, and I think Hayden Hackney showed the spirit, showed the tenacity that we need from every player. And Hayden Hackney was clear for me as a man of the match for Borough last night.
Yeah, he was for me as well. Best player on the pitch in a Borough shirt last night, Hayden Hackney. I thought he showed his worth, and he dug in, and he showed a bit of that local passion. He knew what he meant for us fans. So yeah, he put everything in. Last one before I do say it, right?
Sorry, Steve. I was just going to say I'll give a mention as well to Travis. I thought he had a decent debut.
Agreed.
To have come away from it with 3 goals conceded, but he looked confident. He gathered the ball well, and he does what, as fans we want him to do. If there's nothing on it, he's just kicked the ball long, and then it relieves the pressure. So yeah, I thought he had a decent debut.
He did. I say he made a good couple of saves as well. There's one in the first half, in the top corner. I thought it was a great save.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It's just more to come from Travers. I think once he settles in and gets used to things. Last one before I do say goodbye to everyone that's watching and listening. You've mentioned him, Rye. I've got to ask. We haven't seen him in a while. We've got the guy on the shirt over your right hand shoulder.
Yeah, my boy.
How's he getting on?
He's just as down as anyone in terms of how his body's letting him down. I mean, I speak to him, regularly, and I make sure that he's okay, but he's just as frustrated as we are as fans of not seeing players, like him out there on the pitch regularly this year. And we've spoken about it, I think, previously. This year is a tough year coming off the back of the season he had, plus the World Cup, plus the Asian Cup, plus the travel. Whenever there's an international game, this bloke has to fly like I would for the other side of the world to play football for a week or two and then fly all the way back. And then unfortunately, at some point, your body's going to give, and it's starting to give. If not, it has been given this year. So he's desperate to be out there. Don't think for a minute that he's, just riding the curtail. He didn't sign a new 4-year deal in the summer just to sit there on the bench, you know what I mean? Or sit there behind doors. It's just unfortunate the rigmaroles of international football, playing for Australia and also playing club football on the other side of the world can catch up with you. I think there are obviously questions, from the fans about his body and his injuries and stuff like that. But it's right across the, it's not just him, it's that what we saw last season. It's the questions of, well, what's happening in training where we see Ben Doak going down? Is Senny Dieng doing his Achilles and all this sort of stuff? So it's just part and part of football. Trust me that he's desperate to be back out there. And when he comes back, he'll be a very, very big asset for the Middlesbrough Football Club pushing to the end of the season. And that's what I'm holding on to. The likes of him coming back, the likes of Anthony Dyke still coming back. There's still a few players there that are injured and out of the team at the moment that we know could play a big difference. We've just seen the return of Marcus Force as well, give him a bit more time as well. But Riley's chomping at the bit to be back there. He'll get his body right. He's working overtime. Every time he texts me, he says he's at the gym. So, he's working harder than anyone to be back out there and be fit and get his body right. And I trust that he'll do it.
There you go.
Nice one.
There you go. Heard it from the guy himself. I knew he'd be the person to tell us where he is. So, yeah, hopefully we see him back in the boys' shirt soon. But just like that, we are done. There's no game to preview. So, yeah, that's us done for a week. John, thank you very much for joining me as usual. It's good seeing you last night.
No
We'll catch up again next Monday in our usual slot. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about what we need to do the rest of the season. Rye, absolute pleasure having you on as usual. You're an absolute soldier. Enjoy Wednesday. Let us know what Wednesday's like.
I will.
And, we'll be in touch again soon. Keep in touch, and we'll see you again real soon, my man.
Thank you as always for having me.
No, pleasure coming on. And
you're welcome.
People watching, listening, and commenting, liking, subscribing, keeping us going. Bit of a downer this week. I apologise. It's the mood we're all in at the moment, but we found a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We found a reason to keep going. We're not out of it yet. We're still there. We're only a goal difference off the playoffs. I know there's some tough games to come. With Sheffield United being the first one, but it's what we do, isn't it? With T-siders, we're tough. We grit it out. We get stuck in. So hopefully the team take the same approach. I'll leave you with that thought, and we'll catch you again next week. Arrivederci, up the borough. Be seeing you.
Up the borough.
Up the borough. Keep your heads up, fellas.